Hello lovely people, and welcome back to this week's new video. Today in this vlog I'm going to be reading 4 books from the Goodreads Choice nominees under the category mystery and thriller, as it is my favorite genre, and seeing are they really worth the hype, are they really worth that nomination, and see where we go from here. There are always a lot of books, I'm not always interested in them, but I do love a good mystery thriller, and I thought I was doing a good job in keeping up with releases, but the Goodreads nominees always throw me off because I'm like, I've never heard of you before. If you're new here, hi, my name is Noah. I'm a bookish and lifestyle vlogger, born and raised and still based in New York City. So if that sounds like of any interest to you, I hope that you keep watching and that you subscribe if you so please. I chose 4 books. I chose God of the Woods, which I was anticipating. Home is Where the Bodies Are, The Mystery Guest, and How to Solve Your Own Murder. That one I had heard of before. Let's roll into the vlog clips and see what my thoughts are. I'm filming so many different vlogs right now, so hopefully I don't get confused. I am hoping to finish The God of the Woods today. This is the first book that I'm reading for this vlog because it was the winner. It was also a book that I already had purchased, already was anticipating and into, because I had seen it a lot on Bookstagram, specifically that a lot of people were giving it 5 stars. I haven't seen a lot of people on BookTube reading it though, but I am really glad that I saw reviews saying that this book was quite slow. I've read from Liz Moore before. I read Long Bright River from Book of the Month, and I really liked it. I like the relationship between the 2 sisters. I enjoyed Liz Moore's writing style. Totally forgot that this was the same author until I saw it here. It is very slow. There's lots of different perspectives and characters in this as well. This is taking place in the 70s. A camp counselor wakes up and discovers that a camper is missing from her bunk. It is Barbara Van Laar. She's not just any 13-year-old, not just any camper. She is the daughter of the owner of this camp. The weird thing is that years prior, her brother had also gone missing from the property. It was 14 years ago. A panicked search begins. There's a lot of drama and mystery surrounding this really rich, prestigious family who basically runs this blue-collar town community that they're all living in. There's just a lot of secrets. This family is very weird. It's jumping back and forth between when the younger brother or the older brother Bear went missing and when Barbara, the sister, goes missing as well. And all of the characters that are in play, like the police, investigators, the camp counselors, any suspects, different family members. So it's just a lot to keep up with. They obviously tell you whose perspective that we're in and the date, but it still does get really confusing trying to keep up with who is who. I'm 300 pages into this book. That's almost 500 pages, and I'm not even anywhere close to knowing who the suspect might be. Do I have suspicions? Yes, but I only just started forming them because it's just a lot. I have more suspicions about where Barbara or Bear might be, not so much Barbara actually. So far it's not the worst, but I am really glad that I went into this knowing that it was going to be slow, because I have seen people DNF it for this reason. I need to finish getting ready for work, but last night I finished The God of the Woods. I'm giving this 3.5 stars. I think I was really invested in figuring out what was going on, but the ending was just so lackluster, which is why I have the 0.5 boost, but because it was pretty lackluster, it's still at a 3 star. I think the writing is really good, but I felt like for a book that's this long and has 2 mysterious cases in it, I just wasn't really happy with the ending, or I was kind of just oh, okay, on to the next. I do still really like Liz Moore, and I would still be interested in reading other books that she has, but I definitely prefer Long Bright River. Will it stay on my shelf? Maybe. The next book that I have out already is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. I do remember seeing this cover a lot. I do really like it. It's very old school. I was alive when VHSs were a thing, so I had many of them on my own, if that gives you any sort of semblance of how old I am. It's a little little bit shorter, which I'm glad. Ideally, I would finish this over the weekend. This one is about 3 siblings. They're sort of estranged. They're coming back to their small Wisconsin town after their mother has passed. The older sibling stayed with the mom and cared for her until the very end. The middle child, Nicole, has a serious drug addiction, and Michael, the youngest, lives out of state, and he hasn't been back to their small town since their father ran out on them 7 years ago. They're going through their parents' belongings, cleaning out their home. They come upon a collection of home videos, VHS tapes. Their father appears on the screen covered in blood and a dead body that their parents have a pact between them to get rid of, and then the video ends very, very abruptly. So they're trying to uncover the past and the secret that their mother took to her grave. I have never heard of this author. I have never read anything by her, obviously. I haven't really seen anyone talking about it. Maybe I've seen the cover. I feel like I'm getting through this video really fast, but also so slow. Do I need to go to the library? Okay. I finished Home is Where the Bodies Are on the train ride home yesterday. It's actually really short. I don't think this book was even 300 pages, so it was really, really easy to get through. I don't think it's even 250. But I'm giving this book 2.5 stars. I found it to be quite predictable, lackluster. I just don't really see where the excitement was. I didn't necessarily know who it was the whole time, but when the reveal happened, like I knew before the reveal, and so when it happened, it wasn't like all that interesting. Usually if I know who the suspect is, I want there to be more to know about, you know, like why this happened, how. But because I knew who it was, it just didn't feel like any of the explanation after was really interesting or needed, and I didn't really care for it at that point. There's POVs from all 3 siblings, Michael, Nicole, and Beth, and then from the mom, Laura, in 1999 when the cover-up of whatever happened to their neighbor happens. And I think the POVs were interesting because you really get into the mindset of each sibling and their relationship to each other, their relationship with this town, their parents. They all are very resentful and lead such different lives. Like Beth is the oldest one who took care of the mom. She was the only one that was there for the mom's last moments. The middle child, Nicole, is an addict. She's really struggling with her addiction, and she has a lot of skeletons in her closet. And Michael is so well off compared to them. He left for California. He is this tech mogul or whatever. He is really well off and kind of just left the rest of the family in the dust. So the 2 sisters resent him for that because they felt like their parents were giving him so much more opportunities growing up than they did. They hated that, obviously. I think the relationships there were there. I just think the story was really boring. Yeah, too bad. 2.5 stars. Hello. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm exhausted, so I was gonna run today, but I'm so exhausted. I like couldn't fall asleep until almost 6 a.m. I tried reading, I was editing my video, but I was doom scrolling, just wasn't really getting tired. I just forced myself to just lie there with my eyes closed. Anyway, wanted to pop in and say, hey, I started a new book. I'm reading How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. I had heard about this, I'd seen it, hadn't really seen a lot of my mutuals personally reading it, although it is very intriguing. I like that Elle Cosimano, who I just spit, I'm so sorry, who wrote the Finley Donovan series, has blurbed it. She wrote, "A masterclass, one of the best and most satisfying mysteries I've ever read." This is also going to be a series, so I'm curious to see how that works, which characters are going to be the same. Our main character, Annie, she has a great aunt that she has never met named Frances. She was a bit of a recluse, she was a little kooky. She received a fortune in her 20s saying that she would one day be murdered and be betrayed by the birds. So she was very, very paranoid. She had some money and she ends up being murdered. Annie has never met this woman. She gets called up to her estate or whatever because she has called all of these relatives saying that she's going to be changing the will, but they never get to meet because she dies. Annie has to figure out what's going to happen. She's determined to catch the killer. Frances has all of these files and secrets on people in preparation to see who likely has a motive to kill her. And so Annie is trying to get to the truth and inherit her great aunt's fortune. It's really British. It's really fun. The author is not British. She lives there though, so that's kind of really cute. I have marked out how much I need to read in order to finish this on time for like my personal schedule, which I actually like because I have a goal. And now that I'm just walking at the gym, I can read actually. I'm up to page 130. I'm about to start chapter 15. The book is bouncing between the past of Frances's perspective in the 1960s of her life at the time when she received received that fortune. And of course, in Annie's timeline, we're kind of figuring out what kind of people were in Frances's lives. It seems like her friend group still kind of remain the same because they live in this small town. There are characters that I definitely don't like. The one guy that she's up against in like trying to figure out who murdered her aunt in order to receive the fortune, we only just met him, so unsure of like his vibe yet. I just did my bangs. I'm getting ready. I am going out for Lunar New Year. I went to the gym. I felt really good and sweaty and went grocery shopping after, but I got to read so much. The thing about this book, it's so easy to read. It's getting really fun. You can tell how much our main character Annie is getting into it. She has been, I think, let go from her job, or she quit her job, so she's in between work right now, and she's using that time to kind of figure out if she wants to actually work on a manuscript and fulfill her dream of becoming a mystery note writer, which is fun. So she's like kind of putting her detective skills to the use. I'm having fun. I'm trying to see if I could figure out who the suspects are, what kinds of questions she should be asking, whether or not I could figure out who killed her aunt. She's now starting to have fun with that. It's really great so far. I'm just about ready to go. I'm on page 251 of How to Solve Your Own Murder, and I was hoping to finish it today, but I am also doing my like February reset, so I was doing a lot of cleaning and didn't have a lot of time to read. I may have to take this on my weekend trip with me. Right now I have different predictions than Annie does of who has done it. There's like another mystery they're solving as well, so I'm trying to predict that. As for who killed her great aunt Frances, I'm not really sure yet. I feel like I have a grasp on the other mystery better. Alright, this was very fun to read and really easy to read, and I'm giving it 3.75 stars. I really like the challenge of the game that Aunt Frances created of who can figure out the murder first. It made it really fun, and like I could be a part of that game too. But the premise seemed more fun than the book actually was, because I feel like as the book went on, the reveals, it did make sense, but I didn't feel like there were enough red herrings for it to be interesting, which is kind of happening in a kind of a pattern in this. It just wasn't really landing with me, which really sucks because this is a series, or it's going to be a series. I am getting ready to go out to dinner with my friends, but I'm gonna be taking with me the mystery guest. I read quite a bit. It's really easy to read. It also helps that I read before my commute yesterday, and I'm about to start chapter 11. This does bounce around between like her past and the present. This is the second book in the Maid series. Unsure how many there's going to be. The Maid was okay. I feel like I gave it like 3 or 4 stars. And in this story, our main character Molly is a maid. She has now been made the head maid at this boutique 5-star hotel. This renowned mystery author J.D. Grimthorpe decides to make this huge announcement in their newly renovated tea room, and before he can do so, he ends up dropping dead in front of the whole audience. Detective Stark, who was in the first book, is back to investigate whether or not this is a murder, because obviously people don't just drop dead like that. There are quite a few suspects, Molly included. She does have a secret because she actually has met this author before in her childhood. In the past chapters, we're revisiting her childhood, meeting her grandmother, seeing their dynamic, her relationship, question mark, to the author Grimthorpe. Molly is such an oddball. She's definitely quite peculiar. I forgot that like she's quite a character that you really just have to get used to. It does come off a little bit annoying because of that, and she is very, very much like her grandmother. I think it's too soon to tell who the suspects may be, but I feel like I'm like 45% of the way through, maybe. There is obviously one suspect, but I feel like it's a little bit too obvious right now. I really don't like when like sequels are on the Goodreads Choice nominee list. Feels like kind of a cop-out. I'm so tired. But I just finished this book and I'm gonna go to sleep. But I also wanted to talk about this book when it didn't involve me like going to the gym, which is what I'm probably gonna do tomorrow. I wasn't very invested in this book, and it just reads so simple and mindless, easy read. It kind of reads like a YA mystery. There's not a lot of depth to it. I'm debating if I want to give it like 2.5 or 3 stars because it wasn't like bad, and it's super easy to read, but it's almost like too easy to read that it doesn't really add anything. Molly's also kind of annoying. How did this get nominated? I'm here to do my outro, and I was looking over the 4 books that I read for this vlog. I read The God of the Woods, Home is Where the Bodies Are, How to Solve Your Own Murder, and lastly I finished off with The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. None of them are over 4 stars. Like, they're all 2 to 3 stars. So I don't know if I'm falling out of love with the mystery thriller genre or everyone's taste is kind of shit. There's like too many new readers to this genre that don't really understand what a good mystery is, because this, so simple. This is for a child. So yeah, I'm pretty disappointed. I am doing a romance one for this, and I have 1 book left, so I hope I'm enjoying that more. I've had 2 5-star reads this year, back to back, and neither of them were mystery. One was a contemporary, and the other was a horror, and the sad part is that neither of them were for vlogs, but I'll get there. I'll let y'all know if I do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know a 5-star mystery of yours, because I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope in this fucking genre, apparently. And I will see you all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!